Good afternoon, YouTube. So we're doing a short little exploration hike today. This is an unnamed stream down here just past the main Stevens Creek crossing, and on the other side over there, that's where the ridge road goes up. So there's actually an old road from the 1800s on that side of the canyon, but I am trying to come up this side of the canyon, see if there's a way to get up there. Last week I stopped and went down that way, so I thought I'd come up here. According to my aerial imagery layer on OsmAnd, starting right up here, you start getting into brush, and I think that's what I'm looking at here. There does appear to be a slight clearing partway up here, maybe twice as far as I've come up so far. So I wanted to see if it's possible to go up that way. The thing you can't tell is from the aerial view is how dense is the brush. So the only way to tell is you got to come up here and try to walk through it. So I'm trying to just hug the nose of this ridge, and up a ways there's a little bit of a clearing. So I thought that would be a good chance to check out the aerial imagery layer. I haven't had a chance to test those layers out yet. So anyway, I'm gonna keep poking along here, see how far up I can get. Okay, here's the aerial imagery layer on OsmAnd. The bottom track there, that was where I went last week, and so I figured I'd start recording a track up from where I stopped last week. And you can see I'm into an area where there's like a little bit of clearing there, and you can see ahead of me for a ways it looks like there's little patches of clear ground, or at least thinner tree cover, and indeed I'm standing in an actual pretty open area. I'll show you on the camera here. Okay, so I was down below there, had to push through, I don't know, maybe 100 feet of not too bad brush, but it's really slow going uphill because you're having to fight the branches hanging down the hill and you're trying to go up. So it's kind of hard to get through, but I did find a way through. And then look at this area here. All of a sudden it just cleared out. The soil here is kind of rocky, and you can see how it's all open. There's not a lot of brush. There's just some rather tall oak trees here, all multi-trunk. Look at that. They're all multi-trunk oak trees. So I'm guessing these were all logged back in the late 1800s and then grew back. You can see there's a double. There's like 3 or 4 trunks. There's 3 or 4 right there. I'm going to try to kind of hug this ridge. You can see there's the nose of the ridge, and to see how far up here I can get, because pretty soon I hit that gray-green color stuff. So I think that gray-green stuff is really nasty brush, but until I actually set foot in it, I don't know for sure. I mean, it could be just knee-high brush that you can walk through, or it could be like the stuff I ran into on this ridge here. The stuff is like from the ground to 10 feet high, and the branches are all interlocked. It's like trying to walk through a sheet of Velcro, and there's just no way through it. So I'm thinking that's what this is up here, but maybe it's something different. I'm going to keep going here, and we'll fire up the camera when I get up to that bigger open area up here. Okay, I think I made it up to this gray-green brush line, and I think there's a bit of an opening off to the east. It's like a steep drop-off. There's a couple of trees in the middle, but it just drops straight off the side of the canyon. Looks like there's a little space to the west of me, but yeah, I don't think I'm going any farther in here. I found a little bit of a game trail. Let me show you what this looks like on the camera. Okay, so that open stretch of ground I was going up ended just a ways down here. There's a madrone tree, a young madrone here. And then I followed like a faint game trail up through there. I think it kind of continues here. There's looks like a slight path up there, and maybe through here that, you know, something like a deer could get through. But yeah, this is that gray-green. I guess the dead stuff is kind of gray, and then I don't know if this is like a flower Yeah, it's kind of like a flower. I took a picture and I'll see if I can identify the plant, and I'll put the name here on the annotation in the video. From here on up, you can just see there's a few trees. They'll show up on the aerial imagery. But this stuff, you just cannot walk through it. Maybe downhill you could bust your way through because you're going, downhill, you have gravity. But here you're trying to push your way through. All these branches are coming downhill and you're trying to go up. And it's just not happening. I just don't think it's worth pursuing this side. So that's kind of what I wanted to decide. But you can see the top of that ridge there. That stuff that's just in the sun there. That's that same stuff. It goes all the way up there. Luckily on this side of the canyon, there's a road that goes up there. Goes way up the canyon, and then it turns around and comes out on top of that ridge. But there's no such road on this side. And then also I think the other problem is this is sort of a southeast facing slope. The sun is over there, so this side gets a lot of sun, gets a lot of brush growing. And you can see here that it's soil. There's a lot of soil here, where back in the clearing there was a lot more rock on the surface. I think that's what happens up here is there's a certain soil type that favors this kind of stuff growing. And that soil usually runs from 1,300 or 1,400 feet at the bottom, and then it goes up to like 1,700 or 1,800 feet up at the top. And that band of brush just follows this whole canyon all the way up, other than a few spots. Along Waterwheel Creek, there's no brush, but every other canyon here is just covered with brush. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it quits. I got about 1/10 of a mile up from where I was last week, and that was about 1/10 of a mile. So I've come up, close to 2/10 of a mile, I think. I'm probably 1/4 of the way to the top of the ridge. The next 3/4 is this stuff. Yeah, that's what I was suspecting. So at least now I have that bit of ground truth. When you see this color on the map, or especially this reddish color, you see that a lot. You can see that from a distance. So if you see either that color or that color, it's like stay away. It's not passable. Wow, and you can see how steep this is over here. The ridge isn't too bad, but on either side of the ridge, that side is just a steep drop, and then this side over here. So my next plan of attack is, if you follow the canyon trail up, you kind of go up over a little rise, and then you drop down, and there's another little stream canyon down here, and it looks like it's free of brush until you get way to the headwaters of that little creek. I guess that's my next plan of attack, but I figured I would come over here and verify that this is impassable. Yeah, so I kind of suspected this would be the case, but at least I got to check out my aerial view. That seemed to work pretty good. I was able to find some of these open areas and get to them, and I was able to see that there was a change in color right here, and that's what that change in color indicates. So that's a good piece of ground truth to have, and now I know for sure, so I can avoid coming into areas like this in the future. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Nothing exciting today, but it was a little bit of exploring. You don't always get to find some amazing thing or whatever. You just run into a wall of brush, and that's the end of it. So yeah, stuff is kind of pretty, but boy, you don't want to walk through this stuff. Anyway, I will sign off here. As always, thanks for watching.